In the 50 years since President John F. Kennedy's death, many politicians have tried to take up his mantle. One of them might surprise you. Here's Fox News editor-at-large, Peter Boyer.
I didn't agree with President Kennedy on most things, but when he cut taxes, everyone gained from an expanding, fully employed economy.
Ronald Reagan knew there was always one reliable way to annoy liberals. When advocating for one of his conservative policies, he'd invoke the name of John F. Kennedy.
And it's all computer searchable. You can type in Kennedy, and there's speech after speech after speech in the closing days of the 1984 re-election campaign for Reagan.
51 times Reagan cited JFK in that 84 campaign. But Reagan's purpose wasn't just to provoke liberal ire. Reagan may not have agreed with Kennedy on everything, but they sure seemed to agree on the big things. Reagan really did locate himself on a political continuum right next to JFK.
There are many people in the world who really don't understand, or say they don't, what is the great issue between the free world and the communist world. Let them come to Berlin.
Mr. Gorbachev, open this gate.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
On Reagan's signature domestic policy, tax cuts, he found himself closer to JFK than to the establishment of his own party, which famously dismissed his supply-side economics as akin to voodoo. Listen to Kennedy.
The billions of dollars this bill will place in the hands of the consumer and our businessmen will have both immediate and permanent benefits to our economy.
Kennedy cut taxes, and the economy grew, and federal revenues actually grew, so that you could cut the tax rate and grow the tax revenue.
Ira Stoll is the author of JFK Conservative.
That's supply-side economics, it's growth-oriented economics, and that was a great contribution of President Kennedy.
So are you suggesting to us that John F. Kennedy was a supply-sider?
Absolutely.
With regard to fiscal policy, he said the way to increase the revenue for the government is to decrease tax rates, and by doing so stimulate the economy so that it will throw off more revenues at lower rates. That's conservatism.
The tax cut. It was the liberal position in 1961 and 2 and 3. And it was the Republicans who said, no, that'll make the deficit worse.
But Jeff Greenfield, author of If Kennedy Lived, says that those who see Kennedy as a conservative miss the big picture.
If the point of this is to find elements of John Kennedy that could fairly be called conservative, of which the tax cut would have been one in contemporary terms, that's right. If you divorce the tax cut from everything else he was fighting for in 1963, you miss the point. 50 years ago was a very different time than it is now. And that's the central point.
A different time, of course. But one thing hasn't changed. Reagan used to say that his invoking JFK's name drove liberals crazy. Judging by liberal reaction to Ira Stoll's book, it's been called loony, ridiculous, and the right's favorite new lie. It still does. Chris?
Peter, thank you.